what's up guys, I'm back, I've returned. I gave myself 2 days off for Christmas and it snowballed into a week. Pun intended, it's actually been snowing here in England. It's been awful, the roads are terrible, the pavements are all icy. I've left the house a couple of times and I've fell on my arse a couple of times as well. I'm not leaving the house again. I'm gonna hibernate until summer, although, knowing this country, it'll be snowing then as well. As you guys might be able to tell, this video is going to be a little bit more casual. I hope you guys had a good Christmas, by the way. I'm all over the place, aren't I? I hope you had a good Christmas. I had a pretty decent one this year. It was a nice family-less Christmas. Usually, got a pretty decent-sized family. Everybody converges together at the grandparents'. It's usually a big ordeal. I get to see relatives that I have no interest in seeing. Everybody has those, right? It's not just me. I'm not just an angry guy, am I? We all have those relatives that we don't want to see. We're just not too fond of. You have to spend time with them, but not this year. It was nice and quiet. It was fantastic. I hope you guys have enjoyed the same. So, the reason for this video, you might be asking yourself, I wouldn't usually be posting anything today. This will be going up on Wednesday I have no idea. I don't even know what the date is, to be honest with you. Wednesday the something, before New Year. Something of December, if you will. Reason for this video, I was rolling through my house world. It's kind of a hybrid world. There's some statues. You might have just saw a pigman in the background there. There's a few ocelots roaming around. There's even a few sword statues. I think there's also some Pokemon. I was roaming through this world, and I was looking at some of the abominations that I've made in the past. This is mainly a house world. I was looking at some of the abominations for houses that I've made, and I was a little sad in thinking that you guys will never get to see them. And once upon a time, during the early creation of my channel, I used to show you guys my worlds every so often. I think that I used to show you guys every couple of weeks, maybe every week, what I'd been making. And whilst this isn't really an up-to-date thing, this is stuff that I've made quite a long time ago, I thought that you guys might be a little bit interested to see it. Maybe I could talk about it a little bit. You might like to see the genesis of some of the things that I've built. I don't know. I kind of just wanted to kind of just load up the PVR and just ramble on a little bit with you guys. I don't know, I was just in the mood. Is that so wrong? If you don't like the video, turn it off. What can I say? So, actually, this house idea, coming onto it, let's talk about the houses. Let's get off Christmas and what have you. This house idea right here, I actually kind of liked the idea, but the execution of the house was kind of terrible. It's kind of, you know the house that I just showed you? I thought that was a little bit plain, so what I did was roughly take that house right there, put it on stilts, and then had a waterfall running through the center of the house. You guys might be able to see that. And I had the waterfall coming out of the bottom of the house, which I think is a really cool design feature, really. As you guys can see, it starts right at the top of the house, which I think is a really cool design feature, although very poorly executed with the house. Maybe at some point, I might be able to take one of these modern houses and actually make it work, make it look cool. Got a few ideas for some modern houses, actually. I've been making a lot of brick ones as of recent, but I do have some stuff in my head for some modern houses. This is one of the triangle houses that I've made before. This was actually inspired by... Oh, Jesus. What's the guy's name on YouTube? He's also a builder of sorts. I think his name's K... Yeah, Jesus. Corrales. Yeah, I remember. Hey, Corrales, that's the guy. I was actually inspired to make this after I saw a video or a thumbnail or something of one of his houses, and obviously I've never made a tutorial of it since it's pretty close to something that he actually made himself. I don't want to be a copier, I don't want to copy other people's stuff, but pretty cool idea for a house, I think. I think he called it an A-frame house or something. I was kind of inspired to make this from him. Something that you guys will never see unless I change it greatly, make it a lot better. It's also a little plain, it's also missing a little something. I actually did make a house oh, you guys have seen that one. I actually made a house very similar to that out of brick, and I actually liked that enough and thought it was different enough to show you guys it. You guys have saw that house before. I don't think you guys have seen this one. No, you guys have seen this one. I think this is like quartz house number 3 or 4. Let's take a look. Oh, that's a bigger version of the A-frame house. Let's start from the left-hand side here and move up a little bit. I know I've got a lot of houses in this row, so I don't think that you guys have seen this house. No, you have. You have seen this house, but you haven't seen this house. I'm all over the place, guys. It's an absolute mess. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't think you guys have ever seen this house. Mainly because it's absolutely ugly. This is one of the abominations that I'm talking about. Sometimes I get a little carried away, and I just start building stuff, and I just don't stop where I should. and I end up with just some of the ugliest designs in the world. And don't worry, this isn't the ugliest. There are a lot more uglier houses in this world than this one right here, but this is one of the ones that I'm talking about, and you might see a couple in the background there, the quartz house and the wooden house. Absolutely awful. They're just, no one should ever make these or anything close to them. They're absolutely terrible. You guys have seen this house before, actually. This is quite a nice house. I really like this. I think this is brick house number 3. Moving up the row. Oh, I made this one. This one isn't too bad, actually, but for some reason, I don't know why, brick houses, for me, are just so difficult to make, because there's just something about the brick material itself that I don't like the look of it, unless the brick is kind of like sat back in relation to like the stone or the material used around it. For instance, you can see how the brick's like in line with the stone bricks. Well, I only like it if the bricks are like just in a different plane other than the stone bricks. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. Another example over there, that big, large mansion looking thing. Moving on, shall we? You guys have seen that as well. I think that's brick house number 2. Ah, there we go, another abomination, wonderful. So, this is something else that I made. For some reason, at a certain point in time, and I kind of like the ideas of these, by the way, I got kind of highly involved in Tetris. I'm not entirely sure why, I don't know what was up with me, but I kind of wanted to make a house that kind of resembled like a big giant Tetris block or something, and this is kind of what I came up with. I don't know. I don't know, guys. That was the inspiration for this thing, and it's... oh no, it's just kind of awful, isn't it? I mean, it's a little bit plain. Maybe if I made this little section of the house very much like the other little cube parts, maybe it'd be kind of cool, but I don't know. That was kind of like the mini version of this thing that I made. This is what I started with. Actually, I think I made the tiny one first, and then I decided, no. The reason that the tiny Rubik's Cube, not Tetris, that's what these houses are inspired by. I apologize. These are Rubik's Cube houses. For whatever reason, I decided in my mind that a Rubik's Cube house would be absolutely fantastic. It would look better than every other house that you could imagine. And whilst it is, I think, somewhat a unique idea, somewhat of a cool idea, in practice, the thing just looks... you know what, it actually kind of looks like a companion cube from Portal, if you guys have ever played that game, which you should. It's an excellent puzzle game, really fun, really witty, really good game, well designed. Doesn't take too long to play either. Or, well, actually, it might not take you guys too long to play. It took me and a friend of mine, it took us quite a while. It took us like 3 days to complete the campaign, since apparently we're retarded. So, that is the not the Tetris house, the Rubik's Cube house. Kind of awful, kind of cool. I don't know. This house right here, this one isn't completely abnormal. I think I've shown you guys how to make this possibly. Kind of standard. It's not the best looking house, but it's okay. It's not too bad. I didn't show you guys this one actually, although this one I don't think is too bad. So, this is the first house that I actually made combining like the modern house and just like wooden plank motif. Why is a villager here? Hang on, guys. There's a villager here. Why is there a villager here? How'd he get here? I don't even have mobs turned on. And there's no way that he'd appear here naturally, although apparently he likes the house. Yeah, I almost made a tutorial for this thing, but I kind of encountered 2 problems. Number 1, it's really difficult to make a tutorial for. And number 2, it's just not a great looking house, is it? Let's be honest, it's not fantastic. It's so weird. I've made much better looking modern houses ever since this. This is very early on. This might even be close to like 6 months, 9 months ago. Cool idea, bad design. What else do we have here? We have a tiny house. Oh, I remember this. This is the first house that I made, I think, to see if spruce wood was a viable building tool in a video, because it doesn't behave for me for whatever reason, and it is, apparently. I've learned how to use it ever since I made this thing. Well, so let's go on another row. That's a cool house. I remember making that. I think that's like wooden house number 3, 4, 5, one of those. I like that. Very cool design, kind of like a I don't really know how to describe it. Kind of like a medieval Tudor-like design. I don't know. Yeah, can't put that one into words. Got a golden sword over there. Good old Adventure Time. What's this? Oh, that's actually a pretty cool looking house. I've made a tutorial of that. Oh, you guys have never seen this one, although I wouldn't class this as an abomination, actually. That one over there. We're going to go and have a look at that one next. This one's actually a pretty cool looking house, in my opinion. This little mini brick mansion, I kind of called it. It's kind of like a really small version of another house that I've made in the past. I don't know. I really like this thing, especially considering how small it is. As you guys might know, I've really got a thing for small houses. I know a lot of you guys like massive houses, just huge, outstandingly large for no reason, massive houses, but I like small ones, like just intricate little detailed houses like this, and I've never got around to making this, actually. I think it might be difficult to make a tutorial for, maybe that's why I've never done it, but I think this is a cool looking house regardless. Now this is probably the worst looking house that I've ever made. Have you guys ever seen, like, in the swamp, they have those boats, I can't remember what they're called exactly, they're called like fan boats or something? They basically have a big giant fan on it, on like an inflatable boat, and the fan like drives the boat. This is what this ugly, abomination, disgusting house reminds me of. I don't even know why I made this thing. I don't know exactly how it came about. I think I kind of started with that big giant plush shape that you can see at the back, and I knew I should have probably have stopped making it after I connected everything together, but then I decided to just fill everything in, and I thought that it might look good in the end, but this is just absolutely awful. I can't describe it. It's just a big octagonal abomination. It's an absolute disgusting house, and I regret showing you guys this. This was about half an hour wasted. I think it took longer than that. I think it took about 45 minutes, including design. This is absolutely terrible. Let's take a look, shall we? Let's move on. I don't want to see that anymore. So, what else do we have? Getting close to the front lines, actually. Oh, I made this. This is actually a repeat of a house. I think that the house isn't even named. It's one of the houses from a House Roundup video. It's like House Roundup 2, I think, and it's like the 6th house that I made, something like that. It'd be in the house tutorial playlist, and it's made out of wood, and I decided that it might look cool made out of brick, and it kind of does, actually. It doesn't look too bad, but I've never gotten around to tutorialing it, and I may or may not, I don't know. It's ugly and kind of cool at the same time. Again, you guys don't seem to appreciate the small houses so much, so I just go with the large ones, like that mansion over there. You guys might be seeing that soon, actually, so what else do we have? Oh, I made something similar to this in recent times. Although I made it bigger, where we have like the center part here, I also had like another wing coming out of the left-hand side, and I made a tutorial for this, although I think that I changed around some of the patternings, but you guys might recognize the house. It's a pretty cool looking house, kind of standard though. What else do we have here? We have this. You know, out of a lot of the houses that I've made, I can kind of tell, like, what you guys are going to like and what you're not going to like as much. For whatever reason, I don't know why, you guys just don't seem to like this house as much as I do. I absolutely love this house. And you guys, it didn't get a massive response. I think it's got pretty good ratings and what have you, but for whatever reason, you guys just weren't into this, whilst I thought this was one of the much better, cooler designed houses that I made. Oh well, goes to show I'm not always in tune with what people like. Let's have a look at the next row, shall we? Let's see what I've been up to. Oh, this! This is actually a pretty decent looking house. I might actually make a tutorial for this in the future. It's kind of a culmination of a couple of houses that I've made in the past. It's pretty decent looking, although kind of small, as are most of my modern houses. I have yet to make a large modern house, and you guys are going to see why in just a second, why I have never decided to. Although, this is a pretty cool looking house regardless. Maybe I'll make a tutorial for this at some point in time. Now, let me show you guys why I have never made a large modern looking house. So, This is as close as I possibly got. Where's the entrance? It's here. This is as close as I possibly got to, like, a large, decent-sized, modern-looking house, and it is just absolutely ugly. It is the worst-looking house. One of the worst-looking house. I'd probably say that this is the second worst-looking house that I've ever made, and that is why you guys will have never have seen this otherwise. It's absolutely awful. It is just absolutely ugly. It should be burned, honestly. Which is what I should do. I should probably take out a flint and steel right now and burn it. And if fire was to spread, is it? You know what, let's light it up a little bit. Just a little bit. It'd honestly make me feel better. Where's the flint and steel? I can't... Oh, there we go. There we are. We'll just set a light to it just a little bit, and maybe we'll come and check the progress later, because I was so upset with this one, because I actually thought that I thought in my head that I'd made a pretty decent looking house, and it turned out looking like that piece of crap right there, and I'm so glad that it's burning. That is so... Oh, I spent so much time making that, and I kind of like took a step back and looked at it, and it was like, oh, I've wasted my goddamn time. That was awful. Let's take a look at this thing. So this is one of the ideas that I had for a house, and I think it's a really cool idea, but it just doesn't translate well into a house. I can't really describe the idea in my mind with this, although it should be fairly obvious. I have a couple of versions of this thing. I've tried to make it so many times. Ah, this is the one. This is a successful version that you can actually maneuver around. So you guys can see the idea for this house, how it's kind of like two separate houses, but not really, because you can move between them. How it's kind of a separate but connected sort of idea, and I had in my head that this is just such a cool idea for a house, and again, in reality, when you actually look at the damn thing, when you actually take a step back, it's just absolutely awful. It's an abomination, and should probably be looked at by no one. You can actually move around the floors. The stairs were a massive issue. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this thing. So you can see when you have to configure the stairs in a way such as this, you probably just you want to leave it. So you could also put some stairs all the way up into here, and the idea was you'd also be able to walk on the roof as well. So you'd be able to like move through through 3 levels of the house, and the outer parts wouldn't be functional, but from the outsides it would look like it would be, and I don't know, it was cool in my head, and it just didn't translate well. It didn't translate well whatsoever, so let's take a look at a couple of others. These ones aren't actually too bad, they're just a little plain, like, I quite like this house. We won't spend too long looking at these. I kind of like it. It's I have a few that look exactly like this, they're just different shapes. I mean, what I kind of ended up doing was like making a much larger version, and a lot of my houses, for whatever reason, kind of look like this. They kind of have this same sort of format, with like they have the double balcony setup and a middle balcony in the center, and then they've got like, I don't know. It makes a cool combination. I like this house. I like this house a lot. My favourite bit's the back. Anyway, moving back onto these, as you guys can see, I made quite a few variations of basically that other house that I just showed you. I made this one. I made this thing where it's got like a couple of balconies and the walkway. I mean, they're all kind of decent looking houses, but it's not stuff that I ever imagined that you guys would actually probably want to see. We have another one back here. Although I showed you guys how to make this one. This one's actually... I think this was the first one that I made, and then I made like 3 more, and then I made the giant one, and you guys have only seen this in the giant one, but... they all look pretty decent, however, like I said, I wasn't sure that you guys would want to see all of them. They are pretty much similar, so let's move on, shall we? We're actually getting towards the end of this world. Let's see. This is I think this is the last house that I made a tutorial for, although there's no garden attached to this one. You guys actually really like this house, and I like this house a lot. The actual renovated version, in which there's like a pool underneath the balcony, and there's like a garden that goes all the way around, it looks really, really nice. And I have no doubt that I'm going to make quite a few more houses that are designed very similar to this one that would look really nice. So let's move on. What else do we have here that's just absolutely ugly and you guys might want to see? I've showed you guys a lot of houses that I've already made a tutorial for. Let me see if I can talk a little slower, get the words out. You guys might be interested in this. This isn't an abomination at all, actually. This is my try at a Pokemon Center from, well, obviously Pokemon. I think this is designed on... I think it's the 3rd or 4th gen Pokemon Center. I basically typed Pokemon Center into Google Images, and I picked the easiest one to make, which would be this one right here. And the only problem that I have with this, number one, I'm never going to do the interior, so I'm not exactly sure that you guys would want to see this thing. I mean, the Pokemon Center's only as cool as the interior, as I kind of feel. But also the back and the sides are kind of plain, as you never get to see the back of the Pokemon Center. You don't actually know what's on there. It's actually impossible. I have no idea what's back there. For all I know, it's plain. Although from the front, it is a pretty cool looking house. I guess you could call it a house, but pretty cool looking building. Maybe I'll make a tutorial for this at some point, because I mean, it does look like the Pokemon Center. Again, I think it's either 3rd gen or 4th gen. I don't think it's 5th. It's either 3rd or 4th, and it's actually pretty close. Looks pretty decent. I like this thing. You guys might actually get a kick out of a tutorial of this, actually. And I think this pretty much wraps up all of the ugly houses. I've inadvertently shown you the whole world, actually. This isn't all of the houses that I have. I actually had to make a new world. As you guys can see, I've just about filled this up and I was tired of building. And I was contemplating finishing off my Pokemon series, and I needed the room to build in loads and rows of these. Maybe next week I'll show you the new world, actually, with some of the new houses that I've been designing as of recent. But yeah, I guess I've been talking for a really long time. I actually don't know how long I've been talking for. It might even be close to 20 minutes, which is highly disturbing. That's awful. I probably need a glass of water now. My throat's killing me. Hopefully you guys have appreciated this, though. I mean, I've not made a video like this in quite a while, where I've just kind of like toured worlds and talked to you guys about stuff. I don't know. It was kind of fun to do this. So, what I might do next week, actually, I don't usually post videos on Mondays and Wednesdays, so maybe I'll just leave one of the slots open, and maybe next time I'll show you my creative world, where I keep a load of pixel art, statues, weapons statues, stuff like that. Maybe I'll show you guys that next week, show you what that looks like, give you a nice little bit of a tour of that. Hopefully this has been at least somewhat entertaining for you guys. Hopefully you guys have liked seeing some of the houses, some of the stuff that you wouldn't get to see otherwise. Hopefully I've not put you to sleep. I know that this has been going on quite a while, so I'll cut this off soon, shall I? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, if you've made it this far, which I highly doubt you have, everything's back to normal now. I'll be posting again tomorrow. Survival will be going up on Friday. House tutorial Saturday, something on Sunday, and then something on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. You guys get the point. That's how the rotation will go. And hopefully, maybe I'll do, like I said, maybe I'll do another one of these next Wednesday for you guys, and I'll show you the creative world. We'll see. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.